Welcome back to the Morgan Streetman Show. We have an incredible guest we're speaking with right now, Professor De Mattei. He is the author of St. Pius V, a really remarkable book. And you know what, Professor? I do have to say, I didn't get a chance to say to you earlier, è stato un vero piacere.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're continuing with our questions about your book. Pope Pius V is described as the founder of the Holy League. So what was the Holy League and why was it founded?
Yes, he was the true author, the founder of the Holy League. The Holy League was a political alliance between the Pius V, King Philip II of Spain, and the Republic of Venice. And it was a league, an alliance, both offensive and defensive against the Ottomans, Turks, in order to recover all the places usurped by them from the Christians, including Algeria, some Mediterranean islands, and there was a strong threat to the Christendom at the end, and Pius V knew that there would be no possible truce with Islam until the Ottoman Empire was definitively annihilated. And so he organized this military alliance, and the solemn promulgation of the alliance, of the treaty, took place on May the 27th, 1571, in St. Peter's Basilica. It was as a new crusade against the Muslims, who were the same enemies which the church had fought on the fields of Jerusalem at the time of the Crusades. And there was battle, the famous Battle of Lepanto, the 7th October the 7th, 1571, and it was really an extraordinary victory. There is an interesting episode. Yes, it is this: that when the battle was over, it was about 5 in the evening on Sunday, October the 7th, 1571. At the very same hour, Pius V was examining the accounts with his treasurer general Bussotti. All of a sudden, as if moved by an irresistible impulse, he got up, opened the window, and fixed his gaze toward the east as if absorbed in contemplation. Then he turned back, his eyes shining with a divine light, and then he exclaimed, "Let's not concern ourselves with business anymore, but let's go and thank God, because at this very moment our armada has obtained a victory." Of course, it was a miracle, because only 15 days later, on the night of October the 21st, a courier arrived in Rome with news of the great victory. And this miracle was recognized by the Church for the canonization of St. Pius V.
Can you back up a little bit and talking about the Battle of Lepanto and what forces were arrayed on each side, where it took place?
It was about midday of the 7th of October, and there were in that moment two enormous fleets, one against the other in the Mediterranean sea near the Lepanto Gulf. One advanced like with the form of a cross with the center of the cross the admiral navy, the admiralship of Don Juan d'Austria, the commander, and on the left corner the Venetian fleet, and on the other corner the ship of Genova, the Republic of Genova. And behind the Spanish fleet, and on the other, in front of this fleet, there was the most extraordinary naval army, Muslim naval army, with more than 200 ships, and the battle was really furious. The Muslim ship was, while the Christian formed a cross, the Muslim fleet formed like a half moon, the symbol of Islam, and the battle continued for 5 hours, but at the end, the victory was for the Christian army. And this victory not only changed the history, because from the first time since 2 centuries, the Islam advancing in Mediterranean and was stopped, but also because instilled a strong confidence, a strong courage in all the Christendom. And it was the first of other new victories in Vienna, in Budapest, in Belgrado. I mean that in the space of 2 centuries, Islam was completely defeated because this first victory of Lepanto. So in this sense, Pius V could be considered as the first, the man, the Pope, who gave the impulse for the renaissance of the Christian strength, not only military strength, but above all spiritual and moral strength. And after the victory, Pius V instituted the feast of Our Lady of Victories, also known as Our Lady of the Rosary. And this was very, very important. It was the introduction. Pius V introduced in the litany, in the litanies of Loreto, the Marian title of Auxilium Christianorum. This was the last relevant action of his pontificate. So I think that the secret behind his battles and his victories lies in the spiritual weapons he used. And the first of these spiritual weapons was the Holy Rosary. But not only Holy Rosary and military weapons, both. So not a rosary without military weapons, but no military weapons without the prayer. These 2 different weapons assured the extraordinary victory of Lepanto.
It's a fascinating image that you've described of the battle itself, of the Christians arrayed in a battle formation like a cross, and the Muslims arrayed in the crescent, which is the symbol of Islam, and it literally a visual picture of the conflict between the two religions. And, you know,
exactly.
As you've pointed out, I mean, up until that point, the Ottoman Turks were having unbridled success at conquering essentially the entire world. And this is the first turning point, the Battle of Lepanto, and followed by about 110 years later, as you mentioned, the Battle of Vienna, where Jan Sobieski and the winged hussars, the Polish cavalry, came in and are often said to have saved Europe. But what I found so interesting in reading your book, I had heard of the Battle of Vienna. I had never heard of the Battle of Lepanto before being apprised of your book and learning more about St. Pius V. Why don't you tell us, if you would, a little bit about the Lepanto Foundation, of which you're the president?
The Lepanto Foundation is an organization based in Rome, but our activity, it is a cultural activity, moral and cultural activity. I mean, what we do, it is to disseminate good ideas. I mean, we defend the natural and the Christian law. We fight for the recuperation, the reconquest of the Christian and the natural order against the contemporary chaos. I mean, that I think that today we are immersed in a global, in a planetary chaos. Chaos means confusion from a religious, from a cultural, from a moral point of view. And so it is very important to fight for clarify. And this is our goal. The goal of the Lepanto Foundation.
Well, Professor, we could probably talk to you for another hour. You are such an interesting man. It's been a wonderful interview. I wish we had more time, but we're going to have to leave it there. Folks, I highly recommend you go out and buy Professor De Mattei's book, St. Pius V, which is published by the Sophia Institute Press, a great press. They publish a lot of great books. This one in particular is worthy of your time. You will enjoy it. You will learn a lot about Christendom. You'll learn a lot about the battle with Islam, which still rages on even today. We'll be right back. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.